Hi guys, what is going on? Welcome to the XRL Extreme 3 highlights for the Singapore Grand Prix. And now, going into this one, I did a lot of race pace practice instead of qualifying, so I knew that I wasn't going to do too well, but heading into Q1, as you can see, I'm just all over the place. Like, my first lap in Q1 was absolutely appalling. Like, I'm just braking so late everywhere, and I couldn't really understand why. Like, I'm braking at the same point that I did in practice, and yet going into qualifying, I just can't seem to get any corner right. So I boxed at the end of this lap. I'd had enough. And Classic goes to me in the party, well, have you got the right setup on? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sure I have. And then I noticed that I'm on preset 5, which is a 2-2 wing setup with 62% brake bias, like 75% pressure. So that explains why I had no brakes just during that lap at all. But the frustrating thing for me is that I actually do select my setup, and it for some reason just goes back to preset 5. Like, I don't understand why it's just giving me the wrong setup. But because we got park firme rules on, I couldn't change my setup, so I just had to understand the car and relearn the track essentially with new braking points. So that's what I did for the rest of the Q1, and I just aimed to get out qualifying. But as I'm on my final lap, Patriots parked on the racing line just before the braking zone, so that cost me a couple of tenths, and I wasn't too pleased about it, but at least he tried to let me pass, so I mean, there's only so much you can say about that. I hit the wall going on to the final corner, and as we cross the line, it's still in P20, and my lap was a 1:41.8, which, considering I had to relearn the track again, that's not awful, but I should have done a lot better there. There were still some mistakes I made in that lap alone. But those were the results from Q2 and Q3. Congrats to Alan, who got on pole. But for me, slap bang in the back of the grid. What could go wrong, eh? I can only go up from here. But I'm going to start on the hards, end on the mediums, and it is 5 lights, and away we go. And in true fashion, I get a decent start. Absolutely mince Damien. Patriot backs out, and in this stage going into turn 1, I didn't really want to force myself in there, so I just stayed back, let fastest car go get in front of me, and then Damien absolutely does me around the outside, so that was a good overtake by him. So I'm back down into P19, and it's not an awful start. I get a warning for track limits there, not ideal, but I'm currently just following the guys, seeing what I can do. I get a nice little run on Cartman Judd, and he actually cuts me off. You know, I had to back out of that one, otherwise that was my race over, and I do feel like he should have given me room there. He's just looking forward and not backwards. He's a bit tunnel visioned, and oh my god, what a pile up. And VSC's out, King Pleb's out, and everyone else is just kind of parked. These guys are parked up like Saturday night boy races at the back of Tesco, but you know, at the end of the day, I made a couple of extra places. I'm up to P16. I will happily take that. It's coming towards the end of lap 1 then. I'm still not 100% happy with the car. Still trying to understand it. 2 people pit. That makes me up into P14. And a lot of guys behind me pit as well, because they had a lot of front wing damage from that pile up. But on to lap 3, I'm pretty much by myself. You know, just running around with the hard tyres. And safety car comes out. Now, that was super useful for me as I go completely wild like an absolute idiot, but it was good for me because I'd lost kind of a lot of time in the gap from the pile up, so it meant that I could claw a lot of that time back, as a lot of people pit, mostly the soft tyre runners from like Q2 and Q3, but I managed to get up to P7, so me being on the hard tyre, I know I could go quite a long distance, and these guys not too sure whether they'll have to stop again depending on what tyre they put on. I'm in a really good position here. The reason for the safety car was Alan, who was leading the race, ended up having an issue. He had to pit with the rest of the guys there, so I've caught up to the train. I'm just doing a little bit of weaving, and then suddenly, what an absolute idiot I am. You know, at first I did underestimate how close I was to the rest of the train and how slow they were going, so that's on me. But as I brake and moved slightly to the right, I didn't think I was anywhere near the wall at first, like in real time, but turns out I was. Ended up clipping my wing, and that's really my race ruined. You know, at this stage I do have to box for a new wing. I've obviously got to change my tyres, which I didn't really want to do, but I then go on to another set of mediums, which I know can't race to the end, so I know I've got to make yet another stop, which just completely ruins my race. But I'm not going to let that stop me, and as we go to green, my Judd goes wide there, not too sure why. There's another guy off there, Cookie, so I've already made a place off the start, and I could have dive bombed my Judd there, but I decided to back out. I thought better of it. And going into turn 3 here, I'm a little bit clumsy, and that's my front wing gone yet again. So this race is just going from bad to worse, and I've got Cookie on my inside now. I give him plenty of room, and I feel a little bit of contact, and then Classic's on the inside of the corner. And here it is from Classic's view. He's on the inside of Stumpy, and Stumpy just turns in on him and gives him absolutely no space. That's him round, and then he gets a second clout as well from Cookie, which explains what happened to him, because he was on my inside and all of a sudden he's just gone. So not ideal for both of them, but I'm back up into P14, and all of a sudden Retro Rixie's on the inside of that corner. He was leading the race at the restart, and now he's all of a sudden at the back of the grid with us. He must have had an absolute shocker somewhere, but it's another place for me. I'm up into P13. It is going well, or it was going well until I got clouted from behind. You know, I know my setup's wrong and I have to brake slightly earlier than normal, but I mean, come on, it's not like it was going to be an overtaking move. He's just hit me straight up the arse. Like, he must have misjudged my braking zone by quite a lot to do that. But Whippy did actually apologise to me after the race, so, you know, fair play, I guess. But I'm back down into P18, and all of my hard work getting back up towards the lower end of the points gone straight away. But even with the front wing damage, I still decided to stay out, because you never know, there might end up being yet another safety car, and what would you know, there actually was one. So I thought, great, you know what, free pit stop, I can get back onto the hard tyres and everything will be alright. Now, I don't pit straight away because I wanted to try and run these tyres as long as possible, then pit at the last moment to go on to the hard tyres. So even though I'm gaining positions now, I'm going to lose them again when I actually pit, which I do the following lap. And it was an interesting one because last time I was just able to sprint down there, you know, everyone was staying to the right, but this time Joe kind of moved over to the left, so it was close for space getting past. But to be honest, I don't think he expects someone to come flying down past him on a safety car. But I go into the pits, I get a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for my troubles, which I thought was absolutely great. I accidentally didn't get my front wing changed, and in the process, I managed to check that my tyres were on 9 to 10% on the rears. Now, considering that should be a new set, that's not right. So I've somehow managed to go back onto my original tyres that I started the race on. But at the end of the day, I should be able to make it to the end here. It sucks because I've got a 5-second penalty for speeding, and I still have a damaged front wing, and I'm still in last place. So, oh well, as we go across the start line, I managed to lose the back end like an absolute jippo. But oh well, and Whippy actually pulls off to the side there. He manages to get disqualified. Not too sure why, but hey, it's another place, I guess. But you know, I'm ready to try and get back into the points for the 3rd time. And as I go around turn 6, Retro's on the inside. He comes to rejoin the track, and that is me spun. Now I know what you're thinking. I probably should have gone off the track and gone round him, and yes, that probably would have been the better thing to do because I wouldn't have lost more of my front wing. But at the end of the day, I'm all the way across the edge of the track, so it's my track, you know, I shouldn't have to go off the track in protest. But yet again, another virtual safety car, and we're already towards the tally of safety cars that we had in Monza. You know, I called that one safety car chaos, and we're not even half race distance yet, so I'm really struggling to figure out what's going on in this race. It is kind of a shambles. But into the pit stops we go again, and Retro really took it slow into that pit entry. You know, I felt like I was kind of being held up there. I could have taken that a lot faster, but oh well. And into my pit stop, I take the 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, I change my front wing, and I go back onto a new set of mediums, which is very nice, because I'm pretty sure we can make it to the end on this set. And whilst we're in the pits, and a 3rd safety car comes out, like, I don't know what this one's for, but we're getting kind of annoyed because we just want to go racing, and we spent more laps under safety car than we have under actual racing conditions so far this race. But as we end this third safety car and we start at lap 15, it was a bit of a slow one, but I've got 3 cars behind me now, so I'm in P15. I don't really know how, I should be last realistically, but there's a lot of cars in front of me that are going to be jostling for position, so I'm feeling kind of confident that I can still get into the points here. And I'm just kind of sitting behind them and I'm watching Retro get stuck in and get involved and making a couple of overtakes, which is good to see. And I'm kind of just staying behind them, kind of buying my time, waiting for someone to make a mistake, because I know something's going to go wrong. And as you can see, in true fashion, a couple of end plates here, there and everywhere, so more front wing damage, more clumsy errors, and I'm thinking, great, these guys are going to be actually really slow at this point now. And now even more cars in front of them have joined the train, so this is like a really good 6-car battle here. And as we break into the right-hander after the back straight, I noticed that I was a bit too close to Jeb there on the brakes. He must have front wing damage. I came from a long way back, so I need to react to that. And again, I get clouted from behind yet again by Damien this time, and to be honest, I'm really starting to get annoyed because I'm getting clouted left, right and centre. As Brakeshot ends up retiring just before the tunnel, Damien actually hits him a bit unsighted there, and then comes across the track as I'm trying to go past, but it was yellow, so I was a bit slow, but that is what it is. I'm not too bothered. But I think in general, in this race I've gone through more front wings and more pit stops than I probably have done in the entire season put together. But I thought I might as well stay out, because at the end of the day we've had that many safety cars that I was fully expecting yet another one. But as a couple of laps go by, I decided to pit because I didn't really want to hold up other people because I'm so slow without front wing and on these medium tyres. But the annoying thing is, going into this pit stop, is that the only fresh tyres I had left is the soft tyres, and I know that they can't run to the end, so I'm having to put the hard tyres on, which I started the race on and did a second stint on. So now these are third stint hard tyres, but again, I know they'll go to the end, and it's yet another front wing for my troubles. This is probably like the 4th wing I've had, and I extended the track because I went across the right line like an absolute idiot. But at this stage, on lap 22 of the race, I can't really do much from here now. The gap in front of me is kind of too big, so I'm kind of just plodding along, going by myself. I'm waiting until like the 3rd or 4th to last lap, and then I'll pit for some fresh softs and do a fastest lap, but it doesn't even matter because my race is over. Another silly little unforced error, and that just sums up my race, and I'm left nothing more but a spectator. But that does mean I can be crew chief to Classic, which I did in the last race from lap 1 anyway, so I'm kind of used to doing this by now. But with 6 laps to go, Snake, who was leading the race, ends up pitting for some soft tyres. It was a bit of an odd one because he kind of glitched outside the pit lane but then back into the pit lane, and Rem at the end of the race said that absolutely scared him because he kind of appeared right in front of him. And Snake comes out in P5, and he's got a lot of ground to make up if he still wants to win this race, but in the process, Miler Time also on fresher tyres comes up to Classic, and they're in a lovely 3-way battle here, and this was good to see. A little bit of lag, but Miler Time managed to get past Classic, and then Snake manages to drop it on the exit. He ends up clipping the wall on the outside and spinning up to the inside wall, and that's Classic straight back through into P3. But we're on the penultimate lap now, and Yui is doing an excellent job at defending from Stumpy. He's been held up for multiple laps, and Stumpy ends up hitting the wall on the inside before the tunnel, and that's his race over. He will not be happy with that, but at the final lap, on the final corner, Rem crosses the line to take his back-to-back wins. He's now charging up on the points table, I tell you now. Miler Time comes through in 2nd place, and Classic just holds on to 3rd place. But here is the race results. After penalties, Jeb gets pushed down to 6th, and Boothie moves up to 10th. But I think overall a bit of a clumsy race, especially from me, not having the right setup on to begin with wasn't ideal. And then after that, obviously, just getting clouted left, right and centre, incidents galore, front wings galore. So it was just a really frustrating race though, because anytime I felt like I was going towards the points and I was making places, I just got slapped right back down through either my own errors or, again, just people not paying attention and just being a bit clumsy. But I'm looking ahead to Russia. I'm trying to keep this race as far back in my mind as possible and just hoping that next week I can have a much better race. Now, I did say I would get the points for you, and here is the driver's standings. I'm currently sat around P13, I think it is. Not too bad. But towards the top of the table, it really is starting to heat up. Rem's just pulled away a little bit with the back-to-back wins, but it's really like a 6-horse race for the win. And then the constructors, Red Bull have taken the lead. Renault close behind them. As for Toro Rosso, we're sat in P8, 1 point off of Williams, so that's pretty decent for us. We'll happily take that moving forward. I am trying to create standings that look like nice and fancy and all that, but my creative instincts are somewhat abysmal, so I'm going to try and do my best for that one, but you never know. But I think that just wraps up this video, so thanks for watching. As always, I should have the Russia highlights out pretty soon, and besides that, I'll talk to you all later.